Just one. Bismillah. إن الحمد لله بسم الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه وبركاته عليه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله تبارك وتعالى وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلوات الله وسلامه وبركاته عليه وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Before we start, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, I just wanted to remind the brothers of the hadith in which is authenticated in the Imam al-Albani in the Silsila. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he mentioned to them and said, Mali arakum izeen. Mali arakum izeen. He said, Mali arakum mutafarriqeen. Inna tafarruqakum hadha min ash-shaytan. Like for that which is of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, there was brothers that was sitting in the corner, they were sitting over there, and they over there. They were sitting in divided in different parts of the room. He said, Mali arakum izeen, yani mutafarriqeen. Inna tafarruqakum hadha min ash-shaytan. Verily this separation, division of yours is from the shaitan. The hadith has been authenticated by Imam al-Albani rahimahullah rahmatun wasi'ah. And like we said, we want to apply the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ so we can be from those who Allah Ta'ala gives them the tawfiq to enlighten and take the Muslims out of the darkness they are in now due to the fact of them of opposing the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. As we know, the hadith which we're going to talk about today, which confirms that what I just mentioned now. No, I'm cool. So for brothers that's sitting in the back, sitting all in the back if they can, to move forward. Due to that, this being from the shaitan, as the Prophet ﷺ made it clear, in the tafarruqakum hadha min ash-shaytan. This division of yours is from the shaitan. So brothers could come up and move forward, inshallah, and also implement the hadith of Jibreel, the Prophet ﷺ, and the adab. They used to come close as far as that was pertaining to the ilm, or even if it was just a mere reminder from the Prophet ﷺ. So for that reason, I start off by introducing myself. My name is Abdur-Razzaq, and I am just like the rest of the brothers here. And I just want to give a brief reminder of that which I try to pinpoint, of knowing the sicknesses and the diseases of the Muslims, trying to pinpoint it, and then we try to draw it out and cure it from its root. As we know that is our aim in order to bring the Muslims not only exclusively in this masjid, but generally and around the world, and trying to unite them and bring them out the turmoil that is before the ummah and all around the world. Not just in certain parts specifically, but everywhere, generally, except for that who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has saved by preserving them clinging to his sunnah of his messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, where you see that they are the ones who still have that light and also are propagating it from those who cling to that, then they are the ones who are victorious. And they are the ones who live that light and that iman and also have that happiness truly in this world they have attained. Because whoever clings to that which is of the Quran, the authentic sunnah, upon the understanding of our pious predecessors, they are the one who have truly attained happiness in this world. There's no other happiness other than that type of way of that which is of that type of understanding of the Quran and Sunnah. First and foremost, we wanted to get the realities of that, a reality check of what's taking place with the Muslims. And like I said, this is just a brief reminder. What's taking place around the Muslims we see, and I'm sure everyone is familiar with, of what you see was taking place of that which is in Palestine. You see the Muslims are being what? You see them that they're being humiliated. You see that their children are being murdered, and they're not just their children, they're our children. And that's how we should look at it. We shouldn't look at it as their children. It's our children. Their women are being murdered. Likewise, what's taking place in Syria. Our brothers and sisters are being what? Murdered, and things of that nature. All of that we see how the Muslims are being humiliated, and how you see that they're going backwards in aspects in which we're supposed to see progress. Why is it the fact we're not seeing progress? Why is it the fact we're not seeing true unification? Not just unification about just merely the word, but the actual true unification where it really brings the hearts together, not just the outward appearance together. Because that's the problem these days and times where people focusing on. They're focusing on trying to unite the bodies outwardly, but their hearts are still fighting one another and cursing one another. And that is due to the ayah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the Yahud, what happened with them, and that which we know, the ayah, تَحْسَبُهُمْ بَأْسُهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ شَدِيدٌ تَحْسَبُهُمْ جَمِيعًا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ شَتَّى ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. He says that you see that how severe they are what? They are so, the بَأْسُهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ شَدِيدٌ. You see how severe and how you see them and you think that they're what? They're bets of that which is of the tremendous strength they have. You think it's tremendous. You think they're united, but their hearts are divided. That's because there are people that don't understand. For those who try to unite the Muslims, even though they're divided in their aqeedah, in their belief system, and also in their methodology, that which applies, and that ayat applies to them. You think they're together, but their hearts are divided. That's because there are people that truly don't understand. They don't understand what truly unites a people. It's not the numbers. It's not just the fact you say La ilaha illallah. All the Muslims ascribe in these world to La ilaha illallah. But that which is in their belief system opposes that and goes against it. What it necessitates, what they believe or what they're upon, opposes it. So it's just merely a word. But what they truly believe opposes what it means and negates it. And it goes against it. So they and I obtain true unification of the Muslims. So for that reason, we want to remind ourselves in reiterating, what is the thing that unites the Muslims? What is it that will bring them out the darkness and what they're in order to truly bring them in firstly, bring them out that which is of this dhalla wa saghar, this humiliation, and also likewise, this humiliation, this disgrace that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put on us due to the fact of what is the reason. And also to realize and bring the Muslims to tell them that politics is not going to solve our problems anymore. I think everyone in here, whether they have knowledge or are jahil, have realized what politics has done for this ummah. I think it's about time that I think everyone realizes it now. And if you don't realize it, then something must be wrong with your mental state. But all you have to see is all the thousands of bloodshed that has taken place due to politics and democracy. So what is the true thing that is what will unite the Muslims? What is the true thing? What is the aspect? What is the core or that which is the catalyst that we have to develop and actualize? Then after that, work and cultivate our youth upon that. And also, firstly, working on ourselves before we teach our youth and cultivating them upon that. First and foremost, we have to take a lesson from that which is for those who preceded us. And look to the statement of that which is the statement such as the likes of Imam Malik, rahimahullah rahmatu waziyah. لا يصلح آخر هذه الأمة إيش إلا بما صلحت بها أولها. That the rectification or that which of the last part of this ummah, this nation, will not be rectified except by that which rectified the first of it. The last part of this ummah, the latter, will not be rectified except that which rectified the first. Number one. What is that which they were upon firstly? What was the thing that actually molded the Muslims and that which cultivated them properly until they truly attained unity together, where their hearts became united? Not just outwardly, where their body was together. No, their hearts were together. Number one, firstly, and their bodies were united, and they were all truly united. What was it that they were upon? Right, we'll talk about that inshallah. Another thing also we want to focus on is the Prophet ﷺ clearly told about and spoke about that this humiliation and how this disgrace will come from Allah Ta'ala due to a lack of certain elements that you guys will leave off, that everyone will leave off from the Muslims. If you leave it off, this is what's going to happen to you. Number one is, we know the hadith of that which is Imam Ahmad, where the Prophet ﷺ made it clear. جُعِلَ الذَّلَّةُ وَالصَّغَارُ فِي مُخَالَفَةِ أَمْرِي وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. Verily, disgrace and humiliation has been made for those who oppose my affair. And whoever resembles the people, then he's from them. Also likewise, the Prophet ﷺ also told us that which is the cure, or that which will also afflict this ummah if they leave off key elements of that which they don't possess, then they will become like scum of that which is like of the ocean, due to the hadith of that which is of what? Of that which is authenticated by Imam al-Albani, where he said alayhi salatu wasalam in these hadith that Imam al-Albani used to repeat all the time when he used to get phone calls from Palestine. And he used to ask him the questions, oh Imam, if someone was to, from the Yahud, can we attack them? Can we attack them and kill them and assassinate them and throw their bodies and do something to throw a bomb on them? And Imam al-Albani used to give the answer, no. Suicide bombers, what you talking about? The Yahud are attacking us. Did you see what we're in? Don't you see what's going on? Then Imam al-Albani died about 15 years ago. Approximately now, about 15 years. Rahimahullah. So what are we talking about? Meaning that this stuff with Palestine had been going on for decades. It's nothing new. The killings and the murders and the bloodshed and everything, it's nothing new. Imam al-Albani was asked that years ago. And he was given an answer, the same old thing. Saying these type of ahadith that I'm saying to you now. Prophet ﷺ said, يُوشِكُ أَن تَتَدَاعَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأُمَمْ كَمَا تَدَاعَتَ الْأَكَلَةُ عَلَى قَصَعْدِهَا قال ومن قلة يومئذ نحن يا رسول الله قال لا أنتم كثير ولكنكم غثاء كغثاء السيل ولينزعن الله المهاب من صدور عدوكم منكم وليقذفن في قلوبكم الوهن قالوا ما الوهن يا رسول الله قال حب الدنيا وكراهية الموت. That the whole nations are about to come together and pluck you off. All the nations are about to come together and pluck you off, just like a people sit around a plate of food and they pluck it off. O Messenger of Allah, is it due to our small number on that day? You will be huge in quantity. However, what? Scum, like the scum of that which comes upon the water of the ocean when it forms to make like a wave, that scum, that foam, that's what you're worth. You're worthless. Allah will snatch the fear that he had from his enemies, from their chests that they used to have for you, and he will throw inside of your chest weakness. This is what Imam al-Albani used to say to the Syrians and to the Palestinians and to the Muslims. This is the answers he used to give them. He used to recite to them these type of ahadith. And he will snatch it and he will throw and cast inside of yourselves weakness. What's the reason? حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا وَكَرَاهِيَةَ الْمَوْتِ. Love of the dunya and hatred of death. حُبُّ the dunya. That which is of selling out your religion due to cars, due to politics, due to money, due to status, water down your aqeedah, throwing it away, throwing your belief system, not focusing on the foundation of what the whole Quran came and it was revealed as a reason for it, and demolishing it, which is what? Firstly, the cure is establishing that which is of the tawheed of Allah, purifying your aqeedah, Because when Imam al-Albani, rahimahullah, listen and focus, everyone. Because when Imam al-Albani, when he used to say these ahadith, he also used to back it up. He says, Allah knows best, the majority of those Palestinians and majority of those in Syrians, he said, majority of them, he says, I'm almost sure that they do not understand Tawheed properly. Nor do they understand the Sunnah properly. So the foundation of that which is of what? Them of being a Muslim is not there. Meaning, learning that which the Prophet ﷺ focused on for 13 years straight. Concentrating on teaching the people and cultivating upon the monotheism of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is Tawheed? What is Shirk? What is Tawheed? What is the aspects where it comes in? Where is the aspect where it lies as far as Shirk? Where does it come in? What type is it? Where is it? How do you avoid it? Person's heart being connected with Allah, not being connected with something of the creation, not being in believing in bad luck, magic, and all this other nonsense that the Muslims are doing day and night. The whole reason why the Quran was revealed is demolishing shirk, and then that, which is as a reason you expect victory to come from Allah Ta'ala when you're actually doing the number one action of why the whole Quran was revealed, to destroy in the first place. And you see the Muslims making tawaf around graves all day long. But we're expecting to have victory from Allah, and you're going and actually committing the number one sin that Allah Ta'ala read the Quran, reveal the whole Quran to destroy. And you will find there's even Muslims that haven't memorized and still committing shirk. As the whole Quran from beginning to end is in Tawheed. The whole Quran is in Tawheed. Is in the monotheism of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From beginning to end. How is that? Does anyone have the answer? The answer to that, number one. Firstly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about that which is a rububiyyah. I'm going to tell you that the whole Quran is in Tawheed right now. Kulluhu fi Tawheed. The Quran from beginning to end, number one. First, it talks about the actions of Allah. The actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are such as Him sending down the rain, Him creating the creation, such as also bringing about the vegetation, bringing about the crops, bringing that which is of Him bestowing His different blessings of creating the sun, creating the moon, giving that which is of sustenance. All that, whose actions are that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is called Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء وأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله أندادا وأنتم تعلمون. O people, worship your Lord. Tawheed wa uluhiyyah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings rububiyyah. Rububiyyah is not mentioned in the Quran except to establish one thing. If you believe that Allah does this, He 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 does this, then you have to what? Worship Him. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is not mentioned except min bab al-ilzam al-khalq bi Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Uluhiyyah. Rububiyyah is not mentioned in the Quran except that Allah is trying to establish that which is of uluhiyyah, which is the worship of Him. Because you'll still find in every ayat Allah does this, He does this, He does this. If you believe He does this, then you have to what? Single Him out, worship. So that's number one, how the Quran is in Tawheed. Then you have that which is of al-Asma wa Sifat. So you have Tawheed Rububiyyah, Uluhiyyah is mentioned in the Quran. All the Quran, worship your Lord, worship your Lord, worship your Lord, worship your Lord, worship. All that's Uluhiyyah. Or if you want to call it Ibadah. Then you have that which is al-Asma wa Sifat. Al-Asma wa Sifat, of course everyone should know, you will find the majority of the ayats, that which is mentioned and finished off by mentioning something of His name and His attributes, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Tayyib. So how's the whole Quran in Tawheed? Tayyib. Keep that in your pocket. Then you have the next category that comes right after it. That which is from the rights of Tawheed. Because if you don't actualize Tawheed first, and then you stay away from Shirk, everything that comes after that does not mean anything. Nothing. You can make Umrah 10 times, you can fast Ramadan 20 times in your life. 30 times in your life. You can be sadaqah for the masjid. You can do all these affairs. Stay away from pork. Stay away from eating halal meat till you die. All of that other different things. If you set up partners with Allah, all that doesn't mean absolutely nothing. Is it clear? Your umrah, your fasting, you being nice to your wife and generous and hi baby to the end of it. All of that which is of. Likewise, if you make umrah, fasting month of Ramadan, give a zakat, give a sadaqah, and paying all that to the poor and all to the end of it. If you're setting up partners with Allah, all of it does not mean nothing. وَلَقَدْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ وَإِلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ وَلَتَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ بَلِ اللَّهَ فَاعْبُدْ وَكُن مِنَ الشَّاكِرِينَ وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدَرِهِ وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. طيب, it's been revealed to you, Muhammad, just as it's been revealed to those before you. If you set up partners with Allah, all your actions are null and void. And you will be definitely from the losers. And Allah put tawqeed on it. La takunan min al-khasirin. Rather let Allah alone you worship and be from those who are thankful. Has the ummah actualized that? La. In a lot of places, la. Absolutely not. Not only do they not practice Tawheed in a lot of places, they make war with it. So really we expect that the Muslim Ummah is going to come out of the detriment that they're in now. They're making war with Tawheed. I'm asking. I'm using aqlan. If you want to use your mind or your intellect. Does that make sense? Absolutely not. So that's the reason, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, excuse me, finish off. So that which is of what comes off in the Quran, what comes in the Quran, after that, being all of it in Tawheed, all of that which you see in the Quran as far as staying away from riba, fasting month of Ramadan, establishing salah, paying the zakah, to the end of that which is muharram, to all those affairs, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, is all from the rights of Tawheed. Because at the end of the day, if you don't actualize Tawheed, all those things which are haram and halal doesn't mean nothing. So still goes back to what? Tawheed. Abdur-Razzaq, how's the whole Quran and Tawheed? I just said it. 3 aqsam Tawheed is mentioned. Then we said that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear, which is halal and haram, and to the end of it in the book of Allah, establish salat, pay zakat, the end of it. All that's from the huquq of Tawheed. So Quran still is in Tawheed. Then we have now what was left of that which is of the prophets and the stories of the prophets and what happened to them and what was the repayment of Ahl Tawheed for those who believed in the messengers and those who obeyed them. And what was their reward in the hereafter for those who what? Followed them and accepted their message, and what Allah prepared for them was paradise because they were at the end people of Tawheed. And likewise the people of what? That which the people of humiliation, of those who follow the ways of the criminals, of those of people of polytheism, to the end of it, that which they received as a punishment in the hereafter, and that which Allah had informed them of their path and their way to their path of destruction. So at the end of the day, the whole Quran is in what, brothers? Barakallahu feek. Understand? You see the deafness of Ibn Qayyim and Shaykh al-Islam? Whole Quran is in Tawheed. People have it memorized from the beginning to end and still fall into shirk. For ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, that's what Imam al-Albani used to focus on. He used to focus on, you guys have to now make yourselves quality Muslims by cultivating yourselves upon that which is of Tawheed, knowing its foundations, knowing how to practice the authentic Sunnah of Muhammad and understanding this religion, how the Sahaba understood it. Understanding the religion of how the Sahaba understood it. That is what tasfiyah and tarbiyah is. Purifying the people and ridding them of those pollutants of that which is of polytheism and that which is also the pollutants of that which is of innovation. For ya ma'ashal ikhwa, this is the reason why he used to say these type of answers to those who used to get these phone calls from him constantly from Palestine, that which is of Syria. He said, if you do not actualize these affairs of that which you do not see, As soon as you kill a Jew, don't 10 more Muslims die as a result of it? Do you really think that's from hikmah? Every time you kill one of them, 20 more your people are killed. Really? In your mind, you think that's smart? One disobedience in the battle of Uhud caused the Muslims to what? Lose the battle. One. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. 1. What do you think the Muslims are doing there in Palestine as far as with their so-called jihad? Do you think they're making one mistake? Putting strapping bombs to children, strapping bombs. They have alcohol, things to the end of it. And we really expect the Nasr of Allah to come? Ask him. Absolutely not. For that's the reason why you see the ayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if we focus on this affair, purifying ourselves, developing and cultivating ourselves properly upon that which is the foundation, that which is pertaining to Aqeedah, all of those affairs, cultivating our people upon authentic sunnah and constantly pumping into their heads that which is a monotheism and staying far away from bid'ah, innovations in its aspects and the different types of aspects and various different types there are, cultivating them upon that and pounding it in their heads. Because wallahi ya ma'ashal ikhwa, and I'm saying this also to our sisters, there's no way in the world you're going to allow your child to survive in this era that we live in except that you teach them that. They are going to be accepted to that which is a fitna day and night. And if you do not teach them that which is the proper keys to guide themselves through this darkness that we live in tonight, they are destroyed. The best thing you can teach your children, the most valuable, most precious thing you can teach your child is not to give him polo boots, which we're not saying you can't. Not to give them that which is of a phone, of a smartphone for that which is $400. Which I'm not saying we can't. I'm just saying that is not the most valuable thing you can give your child. The most valuable thing you can teach your child is aqeedah manhaj. Aqeedah manhaj. That is the most valuable, precious thing you can teach your child in the whole dunya. Because all the Muslims have left it off. Majority of them. Rather they didn't even leave it off, they make war with it. So for that reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His book has given us stories telling us of those who purify their aqeedah, stay away from bid'ah, have truly obeyed their messenger, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them nasr. In so many different ayat, we see this taking place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah of that which happened with the story, what we know as what? The story of David and Goliath. Which is the story of Jalut and what? Dawood. عليه الصلاة والسلام. فلما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا إيش؟ لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده. قال الذين يظنون أنهم إيش؟ ملاقوا الله. كم من فئة إيش؟ قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله. والله مع الصابرين. فلما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وإيش وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. إيش حصل؟ فهزموهم بإذن الله. وقتل داود جالوت وآتاه الله الملك والحكمة وعلمه مما يشاء ولولا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لفسدت الأرض ولكن الله ذو فضل على العالمين. تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وإنك لمن المرسلين. Listen to what happened with Jalut. For that, once they passed that river after they were being tested by that little small portion of water they were given, because Allah wanted to test them. And their iman, after that took place, that's a whole other different story. What happened at the end? He says when that story had took place between Dawood and that story of Goliath, he said that our numbers was what? When they passed, they said we have no way of beating them today. The army of Goliath is no way we can't tolerate it. We have no ability to beat them. Listen to those who purified their aqeedah, those who were firm, those who kept their tawheed purified from the pollutants of that which is polytheism, those who had yaqeen that they were going to meet Allah ta'ala. How many of those they have small numbers have defeated huge numbers by the permission of Allah? And Allah is with what? Allah is with those who are patient. He says, and when they will stand in front of that which is of Jalut and his army, he said that they said, oh Allah, give us that which is of. Notice that was mentioned in that. They turned their hearts directly towards Allah Ta'ala. Oh Allah, pour from us and give to us in abundance that which is of that patience, and also likewise keep our feet firm and give us victory upon those who disbelieve. What happened? Because of them being firm and clinging to that Aqeedah, what did it say in the ayah? They defeated them by the permission of Allah. Also the ayah. Everything that's happened in Palestine, Syria today, ikhwa, has already been done. It's the ayah is right there. It's in the Quran. الَّذِينَ أُخْرِجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ إِلَّا أَنْ يَقُولُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسِ بَعْضُهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَهُدِّمَتْ الصَّوَامِعُ وَبِيعُ وَصَلَوَاتٌ وَمَسَاجِدُ يُذْكَرُ فِيهَا اسْمُ اللَّهِ كَثِيرًا. What does it say in the ayah? وَلَيَنْصُرَنَّ اللَّهُ إيش؟ وَلَيَنْصُرَنَّ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَنْصُرُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَقَوِيٌّ عَزِيزٌ الَّذِينَ إِن مَّكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر ولله عاقبة الأمور. Those who have been kicked out of their house without any do right. It's already been done. Innocent children were killed, the Sahaba were tortured. All of that happened. Except that they said that our Lord was Allah. And if it wasn't for Allah that He repelled that which is of, where He set up those armies in the earth that was truly established to erase and eradicate shirk, He said that the earth would have been corrupt. He said that that which would have been destroyed is those places of worship, and that which is of those different places of that which is of salawat, of that which is of worship, and that which is of prayer, and also those masajid in which His name has been what? Is mentioned often. And Allah will aid those who aid Him. What is the meaning of aiding Allah, ya ma'ashal ikhwan, ayah? Aiding Allah Ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need help from anyone. But what was the meaning of the ayah? What's the meaning of aiding Allah Ta'ala? The meaning of aiding Allah is to what? Focus on that which is established in the tawheed of Allah in yourself. And establish the sunnah in yourself. And to also likewise keep yourself far away from shirk. And keep yourself far away from bid'ah and its type. That's aiding His religion Ta'ala. Staying away from the ma'asi, staying away from that which is shirk, staying away from bid'ah, staying away from the hizbiyah, staying away from dividing the religion into different sects and groups and schisms. If you do that, Allah will aid you. Verily Allah is Qawiyyun Aziz. Those who He established in the earth, established them in the earth, once they what? Actualize all of those prerequisites. They established the salah. Also, Allah Ta'ala starts talking about that which is of a'mal, actions, being from iman. Established from the salah, paying the zakat, commanding the good, forbidding the evil, and Allah to Him belongs the what? The final outcome of affairs. That is how the Muslims will bring themselves out of the state that they're in, ya ma'ashal ikhwa. It's not by gathering more numbers, sending more missiles upon the Jews. It's not about getting more and more people involved. It's not about sending more tanks and getting more, let's get more technological, up-to-date, modern type technology. It does not go back to that. It goes back to that which is of the belief system being purified. Establishing that which is the religion in yourself, or that which is actualizing the tawheed of Allah Ta'ala, and that which is and also establishing the sunnah in oneself, and purifying himself of that which is any type of pollutance of that which is shirkiyat with bid'iyat. That which is of polytheism and that which is of any type of innovation in all of its different aspects. If we do not come to that reality, then what else is going to help us? Democracy? Ikhwa, do you know that calling to democracy is shirk? You're calling to shirk. How? I'm going to say this and then I'm going to close out. Because I don't like the prolonged talks. I'll say this and I'll let everyone know this. Calling to democracy is calling to shirk. How? It's easy. That which is of democracy first comprises of that which is of the jamhur. That which is of the different parties that are what? that make the body of that which is of democracy, meaning different groups, different types of people, and different belief systems. And they're all united. So it doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not, whether you're a liar, whether you're a liberalist, whether you're a Shuyu'i, whether you're a Bi'thi, whether you're a communist, whether you don't believe in Allah at all, whether you're homosexual, whether you, for example, are a liberalist, whether you worship dogs, whether you worship private parts, whether you just worship the sun, whether you worship Jesus, who cares? As long as you're in our body, you have the right to what? For your voice to be heard. And your opinion is accepted. Play. How does that have to do with shirk though? Because we talk about the Sahaba, what happened? What happened to the Sahaba when we came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? This goes back to Kitab al-Tawheed, ya ma'ashal ikhwa. It's right there. The answer's there. It goes back to Kitab al-Tawheed. What happened to the Sahabi? We said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recited the ayah. اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله والمسيح ابن مريم وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله إله واحدا لا إله إلا هو سبحانه عما يشركون قال يا رسول الله ما كنا نعبدهم قال بل كنتم تعبدونه أليسوا يحرمون ما أحل الله فتحرمونه قال بلى قال أليسوا تحلون أليسوا يحلون ما حرم الله فتحلونه قال بلى قال فتلك عبادتهم. The Sahabi that came to the Messenger of Allah and he thought that shirk was just merely that which we think is apparent. For example, you see someone prostrate to worshiping a tree. He thought it was just restricted to that which was done openly, to that which is, for example, making sujood or prostrating to a rock. He thought that was just shirk. That's it. You see someone worshiping and bowing or prostrating to a rock or something other than Allah. He's sticking in his mind that shirk. He didn't know there's shirk in another aspect. There's shirk is polytheism in another aspect. And that's in the aspect what they call tashri'ah, in the aspect of legislation. Then the Prophet ﷺ explained it to him. He said, didn't they used to make lawful, those monks and those priests, then they used to make lawful what Allah made lawful, and they made it unlawful, and you made it unlawful? He said, yes. Didn't they used to make lawful what Allah made unlawful, you used to make it lawful? He said, yes. He said, that's worshiping them. If you look to the Majlis of Nawab, of that which is in the political system, if the hukm of Allah is put in front of all these general people of all these different groups, the hukm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is put in front of that, take that out of there. That's not befitting for these days and times. What's that? Put another hukm in, which is this. This is more up to date for modern day times. What's that, ikhwa? Shirk and tashri'ah and legislation. So you really think democracy is going to give tawfiq to the Muslims? Of a group that's made up of liars, cheaters, thieves, homosexuals, people that probably don't even believe in law in the first place. Liberalists, communists, you name it. They're all there. That's the whole body of that which you have in the democratic system. It comprises of all those different people. And even if the hukm of Allah is put on the table, they'll say, the majority have to say so. So nullify that, put in another place something else, we'll work with that. So that's considered polytheism in the aspect of what? Everyone? Tashri'ah. Legislation. So democracy is not going to solve the problems of the Muslims at all. What's left? What do we got left, everyone? Kitab, Sunnah, Ijma' ala fahm al-Salaf. That's it. No more, no less. But who's going to realize it? Who's going to apply it? Who's going to do it? Or we're just going to keep wasting time with on the news and complain, oh man, the question is in front of you. The solution is in front of you. Make sure that you're establishing the tawheed of Allah upon yourself first. You're practicing the sunnah first on yourself and actualize it in yourself. And doing what you can, what's in your ability to call to that if you have the ability. and then actualizing and cultivating your children upon it. That's the best thing you can do in order to pay your contribution towards rectifying the ummah. You understand, everyone? That's the way you can pay your contribution. Also make dua for your brothers and sisters too. To Allah guide them. Make dua for them. And we hurt and we also feel grief and sad to hear this. But we have to also take in consideration is due to what? It's due to our own hands. Due to the fact that we have left off with the message of Allah sallallahu and his methodology of how he gave da'wah wasn't in politics. Rather, it was in what? Trying to establish the tawheed for 13 years, purifying the people in that aspect. And then after that, the rest of the furu'ah of the rest of the affairs of that which is in the branches of the religion. Then it became worked on in the last part of that which is the revelation. After the 13-year period where the main focus was what? That which is of purification of the people's mind and their mental set and their hearts. Because if you look to the majority of our people, the things, the way they think and their system, and you hear their statements, it's like, whoa. The Prophet ﷺ focused on purifying the people's mental state, their minds, their hearts first, and how they think, their belief. Because once that's purified, everything else falls into place. Understand, everyone? Understand, everyone? So for that reason, I'm going to say this last thing, and I'm going to leave off. For that, the last hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, you will find that which is on the authority of, oh man, what's the hadith? I'm trying to remember. Right now, I just remember. That which is on the authority of Abdullah bin Abdul As. The hadith was Sahih al-Albani was mentioned also, وقوى إسناده Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah. The hadith of where the Prophet ﷺ had made it clear. What he said ﷺ in that hadith, like we said, was mentioned. The Imam al-Albani authenticated it. And also likewise, Shaykh al-Islam said the isnad is qawi. That the hadith where it says the Prophet ﷺ said, Bashir hadil ummah bis-sanan. Bashir hadihil ummah bis-sanan. والدين والرفعة والتمكين في الأرض. ولكن بشرط من عمل منهم عمل الآخرة للدنيا ما يكون له في الآخرة من نصيب. من كان يريد حرث الدنيا ومن كان يريد الآخرة نزيد له إيش في حرثه. من كان يريد الحرث الآخرة نزيد له في حرثه. من كان يريد حرث الدنيا نؤته منها وإيش وما له في الآخرة من نصيب. He said, give glad tidings to this ummah, that which is of sanan, that which is of light, that which is of that beauty and that light, that which is of deen, that which is of being lifted and upraised and uplifted, and also being established in the earth with the condition, which is of what? Whoever does an action from amongst them, an action of the hereafter for this world, he will not have nothing in the portion of the hereafter. We know the ayah where Allah Ta'ala says in His book, where He said about that, وَعْدَ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لِيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَمَا اسْتَخْلَفَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ وَلِيُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ لَهُمْ وَلِيُبَدِّلَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ إيش أمنا. إيش الشرط؟ يعبدونني لا يشركون بي شيئا ومن كفر بعد ذلك فأولئك هم الفاسقون. So that ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, and I'll leave off this ayah where He says where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised from amongst you, those who believe and work righteousness. So you know that iman, faith, is coupled with what? Actions. So it's just not enough that a person says faith is here, faith is here, faith is here. Why don't you pray? Faith is here. Why don't you pray? Faith is here. Jumu'ah, why don't you come to Jumu'ah? Faith is here. I don't have to do nothing. Faith is here. Because you will always find iman coupled with what? Actions. And the Quran is right there. Allah has promised from you those who have faith in what? What does it say after? Work. Righteous actions. That He will establish them in the earth. Not only just iman, actualizing the tawheed of Allah. Also actualizing the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ themselves. Staying away from the bid'ah. Staying away from that hizbiyah. Staying away from all of that brings the ummah down to turmoil. That's part of iman. And also likewise putting forth those actions, because that's also part of iman. Actions is part of iman. Allah has promised those who actualize that faith and also do those actions, He will make you successors in the earth, just as He has made those successors from those before you. And He will establish for you the religion of that which you are pleased with. And this is the answer for those what's going on at those people in those countries all around the world. And He will turn after the fear you had, peace. What's the condition in the ayah as it says? Anybody know the last part? Worship me alone. Don't say any part is up with me. And whoever disbelieves after that, they are the fasiqun. And then it says in the ayat again, re-emphasizing actions. Establish the salat, pay the zakat, obey the messenger. Said that directly after the ayah. In light and hope you will receive mercy. The Quran is clear. We have the solution in front of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made these ayats, ahadith, He has made everything clear. The Muslims just, when is they going to wake up and really want to actualizing and stop chasing after these worldly affairs and watering their religion down as a result of it? Nothing wrong with trying to attain your portion of the dunya. Nobody's saying that. Work for it. But now watering your religion down and compromising it as a result of that, that's when it becomes dispraiseworthy. And that's another topic as we'll talk about later on, and not to be fooled by those who try to come and say that they're Salafi to your masajid, and they are not teaching the people, rather they're just laughing at you, but you don't realize it. Because all they want is, give me your sadaqah, and I'll lead you astray. Because that's all you're doing. You're paying them to lead you astray. They are not giving you the medicine you need. They're giving you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. It's a difference. You understand, everyone? طيب, we'll stop here, inshallah. I'd like to prolong the talk. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.